If everyone around you think it's normal, that's the problem. That might be the exact reason most people stay broke. Today, I'm breaking down 4 normal money moves that silently destroy your financial future. By the end of this video, you will know how to break free from them so you can grow your wealth and take control of your money. Okay, first one, emotional spending. Have a bad day? Shop. Hard week? Eat out. These seems completely normal. A lot of people wonder where their money went every month. It went to their emotions. According to a survey, 63% of Americans say that their emotions influence their purchases. And among people who identify as emotional shoppers, 74% report that emotionally driven shopping led them to overspend. People admit that they shop when feeling emotional, whether they're under stress, feel sad, bored, lonely, insecure, or even happy, which means that emotional spending isn't rare. It's actually very common. But it also quietly keeps people stuck because they trade long-term wealth for short-term emotional relief and over again. When mood is in control, people tend to prioritize today's comfort over tomorrow's freedom and spend money that could have been used to be invested or go to emergency funds or pay off debt or even build your business. That money never gets the chance to compound and your life stays reactive instead of strategic. And this becomes a financial loop. You have a trigger, then you spend. You have temporary relief, then you start to feel guilty and financial anxiety, which leads to more emotional pressure, which again triggers your spending. So how to fix this? First, you can interrupt the emotion to purchase loop by creating a mandatory delay between urge and purchase. Say you set rules for yourself. You have to wait for 24 hours for purchases under $100 and 72 hours for purchases over $100 and 7 days for life fantasy purchases, something like a luxury item or travel. You tell yourself that I am allowed to buy this later, but just not right now. Second, use the 3-question filter. Before any spending, ask yourself, would I buy this if I felt calm? Or does this solve a problem or a feeling? And is future me paying for present me's emotions? If any answer feels uncomfortable, stop spending. Third, replace shopping with a healthier dopamine source. People don't actually want to buy. They want a feeling of relief, in control, or some sort of a reward, or escape from reality, or just pure validation. So build a dopamine menu that doesn't cost money, like walk and podcasts where you can go to the gym, take classes, or text or call a friend. You can even take a cold shower or watch one episode of a show. Or you can just smash that like button, subscribe, and check out all the videos on my channel. That's also a free dopamine hit for both of your brain and your wallet. But anyway, you get the idea. Being normal with money feels easy. It can feel relieved at the moment, but normal financially produces normal results. And normal results today mean stress, debt, and working forever. If you want different results, you have to be willing to think differently. Second, buying new cars on monthly payments. This is one of the most normalized wealth killers. People don't ask, can I afford this car? They ask, can I afford the payment? A lot of people think that if they can't afford a few $100s monthly payment, it means that they can't afford the car. But in reality, that just means that a portion of their future income now belongs to the bank. Let's look at the numbers. Recent reports show that the average new vehicle price in the US is now nearly $50,000. Around 80% of all new car purchases are financed. The average amount borrowed is around $42,000. The average monthly car payment is about $750, and the average loan term is roughly 69 months. So what does it mean in real life? It means a normal American buys a $50,000 car, puts down about 20%, then pays around $750 every month for nearly 6 years. After making every single payment on time, they finally own the car outright. But here's the part most people forget. By year 6, that car could lose 50 to 60% of its value. So this becomes the path. People normalize long-term debt for an asset that is guaranteed to lose value. And this model assumes something else too, that you never miss a payment for 6 straight years. But reality doesn't always work that way. In 2025, the percentage of auto loans that became 30-day past due jumped to 8%. That means nearly 1 in 12 borrowers couldn't keep up, even following the so-called normal path. Now let's flip the scenario. What if instead of financing a new car, someone bought an affordable, reliable used car in cash and invested that $750 per month instead, over the past 20 years, the S&P 500 has averaged about 8.84% annually. At that rate, investing $750 per month for 6 years could grow to around $71,000. So after 6 years, that person could have first a fully paid off and reliable car and $71,000 in investments, instead of a car that lost over half of its value and 6 years of payments and interest. That's the real difference. The point here isn't that new cars are bad. The point is, instead of committing your future income to finance something that depreciates, you can choose to funnel that same money into assets that grow. Next, outsourcing old financial thinking. You probably have heard about the lawsuits involving Nicholas Puech, the 81-year-old Hermes heir, and his former wealth manager, Eric Fremont. They knew each other for about 33 years and were close friends, and Fremont managed Puech's finances for about 24 years. In 2023, Puech alleged that Fremont secretly sold roughly 6 million of Hermes shares, which today would be worth around $16 billion. A court later ruled that Puech had voluntarily given Fremont a blind trust and had the power to revoke it. The headline is dramatic, but the thing is, even deep trust can be risky. If Puech could do it over again, he probably wouldn't hand over total control without oversight. He should and could have kept a closer eye on the numbers. That's not just a story for the ultra-rich. For most people, the pattern looks different, but the risk is the same. We tend to hand off financial responsibility and lose sight of what is happening. Surveys show that 43% of Americans turn to friends and family for financial information, 41% go to financial advisors, and 32% looks to financial institutions like banks and credit unions. While getting help is smart, but outsourcing everything? Not so much. When you outsource all financial thinking, you often outsource awareness, control, and power. You stop seeing the details. Decisions are made without your input, and you lose the ability to change course quickly. I'm not saying that you must become an expert or do everything yourself, but you must understand the essentials, like where your money is, where it's going, and who is benefiting from your decisions. Because blind trust is expensive, and I know this from experience. I was a real estate investor with properties in multiple states. For years, I relied entirely on my CPA to handle everything from filing taxes to managing paperwork without really checking in or doing any research myself. I did this just to make my life easier. That worked. Until one day, I got a letter from the city where one of my property is located. Apparently, there's a city tax on rental income, something I had never paid over all those years. I had no idea because the city and state I live in don't have such a tax, and my CPA never mentioned it or filed it on my behalf. The result, I ended up paying all taxes, penalties, late fees, interest, and the whole package. If I had done even a little research on taxes for a rental property in that specific city and state, I would have known, but I blindly trusted someone else. But don't get me wrong, I absolutely believe that there are many competent CPAs who provide excellent guidance, but no one knows your situation better than you do. And at the end of the day, you're ultimately responsible for your own finances. So instead of saying, my accountant will handle my taxes, or I'll just let my bank deal with it, or my advisor will invest for me, take one step further. Check, understand, and be aware. Still trust? Yes, but verify. Lastly, non-negotiating pay increase. A survey found that in the US, 38% of employees have never asked for a pay raise. But among those who did ask for a raise in the past year, 82% actually got one. Even more surprising, employees who negotiate typically gain anywhere from 5% to double their salary, with an average raise of 18%. Meanwhile, the average annual merit increase in the US is only about 3.2%. Now, let that sink in. What does it really mean? It means the normal employee usually does not ask for a raise. Instead, they wait for their employer to offer a standard 3% merit increase each year. So if someone makes $50,000 a year, a 3% raise is only $1,500. But for someone with the same salary who actually dares to ask, there's an 80% chance that they will walk away with a $2,500 to $10,000 raise or even more. And here's what most people miss. A raise doesn't just change your salary. It changes everything built on top of it. For example, bonuses or your employer's 401k match, they're both a percentage of your salary. And also all future raises stack on a higher base. Overtime, holiday pay, PTO, and even severance are all tied to your salary or hourly rate. Crazy, right? One single conversation can quietly upgrade your entire compensation package. So why don't more people ask? Because many people are afraid of being uncomfortable for 5 minutes, and then they end up staying underpaid for 5 years. So negotiate your salary, not only when you get a new job offer, but every year while you're on the job, even with the same employer. And if you want to learn when to negotiate, who to negotiate with, and how to do it effectively, I've made a full video on that. Check it out, and I'll see you there.